This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Pierre Novellie. You can text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio, and email the show via frank@absoluteradio.co.uk. So I did the Chris Evans show yesterday on a rival station.
Lovely way to start the show. I like that. Advertising.
Betrayal.
I did plug. He plugged this show on his show, so it's fine. And also he's on in the week. He did a brilliant thing, actually. At one point he said, actually, I think, let's overrun this morning. We're going to overrun. I thought, wow. I said, I'm going to try that at Absolute. He said, good luck with that. But there was a thing that happened. We were talking about the World Cup, and I said, I'm fascinated by watching Cristiano Ronaldo and Gareth Bale. I said, I don't know what it is that draws me to it, but there's something about these people that used to be like enormous stars, and now they're struggling a bit. And his face changed, Chris Evans, and he said, why are you looking at me then? And I said, no, I'm talking about me. It's a joke about me. And it was a real difficult, tense moment.
You see, this will happen.
Oh.
When you get 90s characters in the room.
It was a joke. Well, I had David Baddiel with me as well. I mean, we could have all danced throughout the maypole of diminishing glory. I don't know if you've seen that maypole. It's anyway. I told a story on there, which I'm going to tell you mainly because when you're on someone else's show, it just flies past. But here I would like a genuine dissection of this. I was at David Baddiel's house watching England play Iran.
Oh, do you know? I love that you watch it together.
Oh yeah,
it makes me very happy.
So we. He said to me, would you like some pasta at half time? I said, you know what? I actually would. So it was that kind of pasta that's got stuff in it. You know, that kind of pasta like I would call an envelope.
Sure.
Oh, ravioli I would call that.
Well, I think ravioli is the
pasta with stuff
the
in
leader
it.
of that pack. But there's other stuffed pastas. Faye's nodding. So he did me a plate of that.
Faye, this news just in from Faye.
Yeah.
Tortellini.
Oh, yeah. Well, it could be that. It could have been tortellini. Anyway, it was a stuffed pasta. So he gave it me. He said, would you like parmesan? I said, you know what? I would. So he put that on it and handed it to me. And I said, I'm just going to nip to the toilet. It is half time. I put it down. When I came back in the room, his cat was just getting the last of it off the pasta. Just licking the last bit of parmesan, clean the lot.
Your half-time pasta?
And it was...
well, hang on. What, had David not intervened?
No, he was making my tea, obviously. So... it was a horrible... And I started going, get off it! In a really slightly hysterical... And then Dave said, no, don't shout at her. I said, look, she's licking them. And there was like, I could see the light was catching the cat saliva on the thing. Cat saliva, wasn't there a Humphrey Bogart film? That's Casablanca. Anyway... and also they got very rough tongues. Yes. I was aware, I could almost hear the licking, you know what I mean?
Yes, yeah.
Which would have meant as well that she would have been breaking the surface of the pasta with the rough tongue, you know, like...
Oh.
Yes.
Did you ever do that thing? They used to do it in television when I first started. It's if you got a new pair of shoes on stage, the wardrobe, it was always, the wardrobe person would get a fork...
Yeah.
And the cross fork marks on the bottom of the shoe so you didn't slip on stage.
We used to do it in fashion. We'd get nail scissors and scratch so they don't slip.
Some grip.
Yeah, so I think the cat's tongue had probably put that sort of effect on the surface of the pasta.
You could tip the plate and it wouldn't slide off.
So I was really horrified. And then something happened which I didn't expect.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
Well, you're not mid-pasta. You're at David Baddiel's
The
house.
cat's mid pasta.
I'm imagining David might have, it sounds lovely, sort of red and white check tablecloth, like a Two Ronnies sketch, and maybe a big pepper mill.
No, see, if it had been that, I just, because our dog would never do that. I just put it down on the chair. It was an accident waiting to happen. Well, not an accident. Anyway, so Dave told me to stop shouting at the cat, which is fair enough. And I said, I was looking forward to it. He said, it's all right, have mine. I said, no, I can't have yours. He said, no, I'll have that one. It's fine. It's my cat.
No.
And I said, no. He said, no, I love cats. So he ate it.
No.
Glazed with cat spit.
And shredded.
Yeah, and
Lightly shredded.
lightly grazed to absorb more, to make it more porous by the tongue.
No.
Yeah, so he just ate it. I didn't say any more. I mean, I was appalled.
I've got to say, I mean, I don't know. I like David's cats. If that had been Ray, I think I would have gone in there as well.
You would have eaten it?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, my Lord.
No.
I'm sorry, I'm Team David here.
All right, well, that's fair enough.
I know where my animals have been, which is more than can be said for some.
Well, I know where our dog has been. But that's the trouble. If she was less flexible, I might eat after her.
You see, my dog. Let's not get too graphic
No.
here, but we don't. I've made it very clear that won't be tolerated. That kind of behaviour.
Well, don't get me wrong. I love my dog. I love my dog. In fact, I'll tell you something about my dog. I think she's made me more woke.
Has she? Why?
Because I didn't fully understand the pronoun. You know, the whole pronoun debate. And people are so sensitive about getting their correct pronoun. I understood it, but I did think it was a slight, is it that important? And then I got a dog, and people would say, he's a nice dog. I'm going, she! It's a she, actually. And I thought, I get it now. I absolutely, for some reason, I was outraged if anyone calls her he. So, yes, I worked that out. So I love my dog, but no, I would not eat a bowl of pasta that she had licked the parmesan off under any circumstances.
I'm kind of horrified by this. Me
too.
I'm not happy about this at all.
Pierre's with me.
Okay, enjoy your corner. Obviously, I'll be over at Dave's.
So you'd eat...
Eating floor pasta.
I plan to go over to David's. I'll bring Ray.
Oh, don't complete this idea.
He's got about 9 cats, hasn't he? How many's he got now?
He's got
6.
lots of cats.
He's got a lot of them.
I went round to watch the America game, and I sat down and I sneezed like 8 times because there's one long-haired cat, and if that comes near me, it's damned hell. So I started sneezing, and he just gave me an antihistamine. It was fine. That's what I gain watching this. So you would eat your... I wouldn't eat my dogs. You'd eat yours. You'd eat yours.
Yeah, I would eat mine.
You don't have a pet, do you? What about your living girlfriend? If she licked the parmesan off your pasta, would you eat? No, it's a serious question. Would you eat it if she licked the parmesan?
I'd be furious.
I'd have to come in and say, stop shouting at her.
I'd take an antihistamine.
Yeah?
Just on principle.
Yeah?
No, but you
Would
need
be
to
something
make
to
it...
do while she was packing.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
By the way, I have an apology to make. I was so ashamed last week. I described Sappho, the poet, as Roman, and of course she was Greek. Oh, apparently someone was telling me if you mix up ancient Greece and ancient Rome on Capital Radio, it's a sacking offence. So I'm lucky to be here, which is something I think every day, of course. So yes, Sappho was a Greek poet. Okay.
I'm just relieved you weren't here. Yeah.
No, yeah, Pierre would have he would have slapped me
Everything
across
on
the
you like
face.
There'd be
ton of Doric columns.
There'd be nothing left of this desk.
No.
So listen, Terry Butcher, the former England central defender, was on Rock and Roll Football this week with the likes of Matt Ford.
Ah.
And
I like the likes of.
And I have a little extract from what... I don't know if you know the background on this, but when we wrote the original Three Lions, there was a line that said, Terry Butcher at war. I know you're not a football enthusiast, Pierre, but Terry Butcher played against, I think, Sweden for England, and did that thing when he got his head split open and wore a sort of Crimean War style headband.
Right.
When
And
you
the
say did that thing, it sort of stopped after that, fortunately.
No, but still, I remember there was a few of them.
Yeah.
John Weil at West Brom, and also Paul Ince, did he?
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know if you've ever bled heavily when you're not really hurt. It's fantastic. If you're not in pain and you're bleeding a lot, you get such attention. And you feel so heroic. And I don't know if Terry Butcher was in pain or not. But anyway, we included Terry Butcher at war was one of the lyrics, and the FA said we don't want to suggest being at war, because in the way large organisations are always touchy about the wrong things. And not touchy enough about the right. Okay, so this is what Terry Butcher said.
I'm just disappointed he didn't actually leave me in the lyrics, because I had me in and then they took me out. But I think the phrase was Terry Butcher's going to war, so that was a bit too controversial. But I would have.
Have you ever
loved
spoken to him about this?
No, I haven't.
Well,
if I speak, I get angry if I spoke to him.
Well,
so.
just bear in mind, as I say, Frank Skinner is on Absolute Radio. So if you are going to say, at any point, if you are going to say something, do you have a message for him now?
Yes. Why did you take me out? You're
There we
the only person that's ever taken me out. Why did you take me out?
The only person that's ever taken me
I
out.
want a personal answer.
Well, this is just for Terry. Well, we had no choice, you see. I am sorry, because for me, he symbolised the beating heart of English football when he stood there covered in blood. And I don't mean he had a bit dripping down his forehead, Pierre. I mean he looked like he'd been in a literal bloodbath.
Okay. But that's you've got a great answer for him, though, because whenever someone is disappointed with a creative choice, the dream answer is the higher ups.
That's it.
Stepped on my neck. That's
Exactly.
That's what you want to say.
But maybe we should have fought more for him. But we didn't want to lose our nice little job.
What was the lyric that replaced it? It's
Bobby
not
belting the ball, I think.
Ah, okay.
I think it was, but I still see that tackle by Moore, and when Linus had scored, Terry Butcher at war. Blah, blah, blah. I know it sounds odd now.
As long as you
Terry,
kept
Terry will
Lineker in.
probably record that and use it as his ringtone.
Yeah, he's got it.
So would you like to send any other message to Terry? And you've apologised. I think that's really big of you.
Yeah. Perhaps he can apologise now for going to Glasgow Rangers.
Oh, you've ruined it all.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Can I confirm you were completely correct regarding Terry Butcher and Rangers?
Yes, I thought that that image stuck with me.
Can I just draw your attention to a missive we've had from Cara Bentley?
Yes.
She sent, I would say, one of the nicest photos ever taken of you and David Baddiel.
Oh, hold on. Cara. Cara was someone I met at the Chris Evans show yesterday.
She's a newsreader. The picture of you, it's absolutely stunning.
Is it really?
Well, you look, I love your look in this. It's quite Arteta.
Okay.
It's very sort of modern football manager in expensive knitwear. And David similarly.
I'll tell you what happened with that, because Cara is quite a fan of this show, actually, which is very nice, obviously. And so she had the photo of me and Dave, and then she said, can I have one just with Frank? And I thought, yeah, that's it. We've got the politeness out of the way. Let's have the photo you actually want. So I thank Cara for that, if nothing else, for that moment.
A moment of triumph.
No, she seemed very lovely. I didn't know she was a newsreader. She didn't have her CV with her.
She says it was a pleasure to meet Baddiel and Frank on the radio at work this morning. If I'd have known, I'd have brought my copy of Frank's prayer book to sign. # followers of the Nazarene.
Ah, I think I must have sensed it.
The lovely friend for you. In other news, we've also heard from Mr. Ross Noble.
Oh, gosh, Terry Butcher, Cara Bentley, Ross Noble. Who next?
I will share this with you. Ross says, hopefully I'm still considered a friend of the show. I listen to the podcast every week. Praise redacted.
Does he really? Isn't he in the Antipodes nowadays?
He is. Sorry, he's someone from 1873.
In a way, yes. Oh, okay. Well, that's
we
nice.
miss him. We love this man. Ross has a few things to say.
Okay.
As he continues, I have a few things for your previously on segment. So this should technically be in previously.
That's all right.
But he does cover a lot of ground. So first up, I love that Frank offered me suggestions after seeing my show.
Ah, yes. This is something we discussed last week, Pierre.
Oh, yes.
And that is, I have a habit, which I've tried to break, of saying after I've seen someone's show, going up to them and say, you know what you could do there is blah, 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 and offering improvements. And Emily always turns herself inside out with embarrassment when
It's
that
awful,
happens.
Pierre. I call them Frank's helpful notes. Maya Towels, he's done it. But what is interesting is he always seems to pick people who are kind of selling out their venues. So Andrew Lloyd Webber, he tried to change the curtain call. He maintains that he actually did take on the advice.
Well, if you remember, someone in the cast said that they did change the curtain call on the strength of that.
Really?
So, yeah. So I'm
Okay,
just
Which,
saying.
can I say, wasn't very helpful, because now we have to live with this.
Yeah.
Can you just give us a teaser? I'll continue with Ross, but what did you said something to Ross. I pointed
can't
out.
remember. I say this so often. The only one that sticks in my memory was Tim Key's facial expression
Oh, he did.
when I suggested that he came on for the encore dressed as a baked bean. But they're not all that dramatic, you know. Often they're just a little line here or a little bat reference there.
Well,
they're not usually costume change suggestions.
Do you know, Ross has predicted this is probably a 5 Fez list.
Okay.
So I think he was he realised this might go across into another segment.
Well, you know what we could do with Ross's is we can feed them through the show as
Lovely.
a thread,
Okay.
the Ross Noble thread. How about that? The RNT.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
We're in the middle of a Ross Noble thread, so I'm going to give it a little tug.
Oh yes.
So Ross has said, I love that Frank offered me suggestions after seeing my show. That's nice for you, Frank.
Did he take them?
Well, I can't think of many shows that wouldn't benefit from a bit of Skinner spin.
There you go. You see.
He doesn't say he's taken them, but anyway.
No.
I'm sure when he blagged tickets to see the Pope, he suggested something along the lines of a different balcony so people could see his fancy Pope shoes.
Well, two things for this. One, my Italian is non-existent, and also it was Benedict that wore the fancy Pope shoes.
Okay.
Francis just wears straight slip-ons. So come on, Ross.
Frankly, I don't think that would have stopped you. More than that, and I'm not sure if you realised you did it, but last week...
Women priest, that was what I suggested to him.
He's oh, God.
In halting Italian.
If I could have, I think I might have dropped that in.
Ross says to me, last week you launched into an impression of me. I was delighted. It put me in mind of a young Janet Brown.
Oh, okay.
He has pointed out there might be a confusion with Faith Brown, the other 80s impressionist, who I'm sure Frank will bring up, was in Doctor Who, Attack of the Cybermen.
And it was a mistake, to be honest. I love
here we
Faith Brown.
go.
But Faith Brown was in a very, very tight silver suit. And I don't know if you know Faith Brown, but she's not...
Careful.
She's voluptuous, is what she is, and it was very noticeable. You don't get really love your curves aliens very often in Doctor Who. No, she was
Yes, the
stunning.
Daleks
Whereas
aren't very
Janet Brown
curvy.
was famous for Margaret Thatcher.
Well, Janet and Faith, Pierre, just so you're aware, they were two sort of similar era, Frank. I think Janet
Yeah.
was a bit earlier, but they were very... I was saying to Ross, Janet was a little bit more sort of Archer's listeners, whereas Faith wasn't afraid of pitching up on 321 with Dusty Bean.
No, Faith was... she was out there. In many ways.
When you say there are so we'll return to the Ross Noble thread.
Yes.
What, Frank, the Daleks? Yeah, see, they don't have curves, do they?
I met a Dalek on Sunday.
Oh,
Give them some advice.
And I still... Yeah. Yeah.
Next time you invade Earth, why don't you land...
Oh, yeah. What about kill? It's only one syllable. It's easier than exterminate.
Do you know?
Anyway,
He would say that.
I'm standing next to the Dalek. They said, "Well, you have a photo with our Dalek?" And I said, "Yes." So I stood with my arm around the Dalek.
Where'd you put your arm? It's how tricky that, isn't it?
Well, just on the top, just underneath the sort of circular grating bit, just above the bobbles.
Oh, horrible.
As the extra centre.
Exactly.
You've got to be careful, though. You don't want to... You've got to be careful with personal space with the Daleks.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then I did it, and suddenly the socker moved on the Dalek, and the Dalek went, "It's coming home, it's coming home," and there was someone operating it, which I didn't know. So that was a very fine moment, I must say. I was at another Comic-Con, in case you're wondering. Remember, I went to a Comic-Con a few weeks ago. I went to one at Olympia. Brilliant.
I was in London.
Yeah.
Two.
I got my photos with David Tennant and Jodie Whittaker. Now, I know I'm a bit old for that kind of thing, but no one would ever say that at a Comic-Con. That's what I love about it.
No.
They're my people, as I've said before.
Did you make some friends?
You know what I did? I met... the woman who showed me around was a woman called Jill. And when they said, yes, Jill will meet you at the door, I was expecting like corporate woman, pinstripe suit. This is what you normally meet, laminate. And when I saw Jill, I thought, oh, good, she's one of ours. She belonged at Comic-Con, I could tell. And I said, what are your favourite things, Jill? And I can't remember, but one of them was A-Team, which you don't meet many A-Team enthusiasts. I was very impressed by that. I'll tell you a bit more about it, because I had a few interesting... and obviously, I'll show you guys photos in the interim.
Oh, I can't wait.
If you don't mind coming to Ireland with me. Oh, no, that's interim. Sorry, everyone. Could do that again, Jeff. Live. Gosh.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
We've heard from Todder. Looking forward to tomorrow night, Frank. I'd ask you to keep your personal correspondence off air, please.
Yes, tomorrow night at the London Palladium is Absolute Live, which is the stand-up show that we do every year for the Teenage Cancer Trust. I say for them, to raise money for them. It's not just them who turn up. I think... I don't know. I mean, you know... For me, there's always tickets left for everything. I don't mean just for me, because I get my agent to phone them. But when someone's sold out...
Your relatable story.
There's always tickets when someone's sold out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because what they mean is we've just got singles or something like that. But anyway, if you want to come tomorrow night, it's incredible, Bill.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I'm coming. I mean, not that would particularly lure you along, but I will be watching you, Frank.
There's Ramesh Ranganathan and Ed Byrne and Chris McCaws and
Zoe Lyons.
Matt Ford.
Matt Ford.
Zoe Lyons. Kerry Godliman.
Glenn Moore?
No.
No?
Never again.
No, we love Glenn Moore, but he's not available.
Pierre Novellie, some might be looking for, but no. He said he doesn't do free stuff.
No.
I would say he has not said that. Ever.
I will be in the theatre, but I'll be playing the organ deep within the bowels of the building.
Of course, with a mask on. Looking forward to it.
Oh.
Looking forward to
Ultra
it.
Magnus has been in touch.
Uh-huh.
with a little video Magnus has provided us with. This is a cat from Le Café des Chats in Paris helping themselves to my water. Unlike the Savage Baddiel, I did not drink any more of it.
No.
I don't know about the Savage Baddiel.
The thing is, water is readily available, isn't it?
What's great about this video, which I think we might have to share, is that the cat, there's a little side glance to the camera.
Yeah.
As if to say, I know what I'm doing.
English.
With
Come
your
here and drink our O.
Do I shock your bourgeois tendencies by drinking your water?
I drink your water.
roast beef. Oh, man. But all cats have got... They're French. They're all French, aren't
Yeah.
they? They've got that French manner about them.
They're Parisian. You speak to them in French and they ignore you.
Yeah, exactly.
Never reply.
Do you know they are so Anna Wintour cats, aren't they? We'll
They
have
are.
David. We'll have David getting in touch because he's a big defender of the cats.
He better be.
Well, he's probably part cat. He's eaten that much of their saliva.
He's cat people.
Yeah.
Do his sort of halftime snacks follow a sort of cat-based sort of tins of tuna and sardines and anything a cat would also like?
Last night it was dips last night because he was going out for a Friday night dinner, as Jews do
Well, after the
after the England game. Yeah. So we had light snacks.
what did you have? Some
A very nice olives.
Whiskers?
Did you have-
He had whiskers, obviously.
Did you have one of those the fish carcass with just the bones that you get,
They get in Tom and Jerry.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
and then he ate it all?
In one big whoop,
Oh.
he stuck his head up and.
Do you
tipped
know,
it.
I used to find that very satisfying in cartoons. One of the few things I liked about cartoons, because as you may know, Pierre, I loathed cartoons as a child.
Oh, I can't
They made no
understand that.
sense. I found them very depressing.
One of the things I just showed Emily a picture of me at Comic-Con with David Tennant.
Lovely picture.
And I'm wearing a cardigan and a sort of normal shirt jacket thing. And I was thinking of telling people there that I'd gone as Pa Kent, who was the old guy who sort of adopted Superboy when he landed on. It's one of the most subtle cosplay figures.
Yeah. With a John Deere baseball cap.
Yeah,
I'd like
it's-
stuff. Anyone's got any other subtle cosplay figures?
Yeah.
I'd enjoy that.
Well, some people do just, come with like one part of a costume or something. Someone will
Yes.
just come with the Infinity Gauntlet and
Can
not
you-
go full Thanos.
Presumably there are some Doctor Who. Are there any regular people? I mean, there are, but
Yeah, well, when I went to the previous one, I was looking for the Doctor Who section and I saw someone as the first Doctor walking past. I said, excuse me, where's the Doctor Who? He said, it's just over there. So that's quite
I'll tell you what
handy.
I'd go as. I've only seen about 3 episodes, I think, of Doctor Who. I would go as the Jadoon, who are the a rather overweight hippo things.
Yeah, Rhino.
Okay, whatever. They go into a coffee shop and they... do you remember this? They interrogate a man and then they incinerate him and he wears an apron. I'd go as him.
That's the man in the...
Yeah. Why not? In the coffee shop man.
I'll tell you what the ladies like at in the cosplay. They like Princess Leia when she was the prisoner of Jabba the Hutt and she's in a sort of a... It looks like a Regency balcony based bikini.
Oh, yes, it's the ladies that love that, isn't it?
Well, they dress up as it. I don't. I don't know if they're made to, but not by me.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Yeah.
Ruth Jordan, one of our regulars,
Yeah.
has a question. Which of David's cats ate the pasta? One of the ginger ones or his taut Eleni? See, bit of taut
Oh,
there.
taut.
And then
Very
she says,
good.
in a lovely bit of self-awareness, sorry, that's very chivalry.
Yes.
She says, I don't stalk David, by the way, but his cats are very famous on Twitter. They're not dancing around the aforementioned maypole.
I was so horrified. I can't even remember what colour the cat was. It was just like a cat and my food, and that juxtaposition sort of blocked out everything else, all the details.
Yeah. What happens to a cat when it eats parmesan? It's surely not good.
I don't know. I need to check this up.
I spend my life Googling, can a dog eat? So many options come up when I put that in. Can a dog eat Twister lollies? Can a dog eat Vegemite?
What's the news on Vegemite?
Yes and no. So Twister lollies are fine. What you've got to look for is xylitol. No xylitol. But it turns out Twisters are fine. There are so many other things Can a dog eat bacon? Yes, but in small quantities.
Well,
a lot of salt.
I heard a fabulous example. You know when someone says something and you think, have you just arrived from the planet Mercury? Because my publicist, who I love, Lucy, said to me, I had... when I was waiting for the Chris Evans interview, I said to the lady who was looking after us, I said, all in corduroy she was. Yeah, it looked like a fingertip that had been in the bath.
What, sort of a corduroy suit?
Yeah, sort of not a onesie, cat suit, I think they used to call them.
Oh.
Yeah, then she ate all my parmesan. No, she didn't. And I said, could I get some Marmite on toast? That would be my dream breakfast. So she went off, and brilliantly she found it, which I was very impressed by. And then my publicist said, it's weird, isn't it, Marmite? Because I can't stand it, but my dad absolutely loves it. It's a really weird thing. And I said, yeah. I said, it divides people, doesn't it? She said it does, it really does, like some people. And I thought, in a minute you're going to laugh and say, but no.
Really?
Yeah. So I said, that's a very good point you've made there, which I will quote you on the next time someone talks about Mark.
Really?
She'll be listening to this maybe and getting furious. But it was amazing. And he loves it and I hate it. I mean, how weird is that?
So it's like someone organically in the wild at a bus stop saying, God, there's two now. And we've been waiting for these buses for ages.
It's like that. It's exactly like that. Bless her.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
I've finished speaking.
Well, John Hopkins, remild cosplay. I mean, that there, then and there, is your fantasy start to any correspondence.
This is cosplay when you haven't really gone the whole way.
I was once at Blackpool away, and there was a group of blokes, obviously on a stag weekend, dressed in Max Wall bald wigs.
Oh, yeah.
A middle-aged...
Max Wall was a sort of comedian from the 50s and 60s who wore black tights and had a partly bald head and partly long hair.
How would you describe his act? I would say he sort of walked strangely.
Comedy walks, that was the...
That's all you needed back then.
Yeah, that was the crux of it, I think.
You just came on and did a funny walk.
Yeah, people loved it.
Keep it simple. A middle-aged man, so you've got these blokes on a stag weekend in Max Wall bald wigs. A middle-aged man walked in wearing the same and just sat on his own. He was absolutely nothing to do with them.
He just had a natural one.
Yeah, it seems so.
That's bad luck on his part, isn't it? Funny he'd done a funny walk up to the bar. They always used to play that and he'd do the funny walk to that.
Oh, yes.
Did he speak, Max Wall? Was he a silent?
Yes, he went. I saw Max Wall do Crab's last tape at the Midland Arts Centre, and apparently Samuel Beckett, who wrote Crab's last tape, said that Max Wall was one of the best interpreters of his plays.
Oh.
So he had a serious acting side as well. As some comics do. Not Frank.
You do, Frank.
Well, a bit of Doctor Who audio drama. Does that count?
Yeah, I tell you what you've done. You did that Johnny Cash one.
Was that serious drama?
Yes. You did art.
Okay, thank you, darling.
Okay. put yourself down.
Oh, okay.
Lovely little actor.
I admire humility in all people.
And you did Perkins on the train
Oh, that was brilliant.
with the Jadoon.
Yeah, there wasn't a Jadoon in that.
Okay, I'm sorry, I don't pay attention too much.
We've had a lot more support than I'm happy with for eating cat food.
Eating cat food is a
Yeah.
bit of a shorthand version of what happened.
I think once that's happened to it, it's cat food
Okay.
by definition.
Okay, what have they said, Pierre?
They've just all sort of said variations on yeah, sure, no problem, which is
What with eating post-cat?
post-cat repellent, I'd say.
No.
These people.
Really?
But it's not the worst news I've heard about food recently, Frank.
Go on.
To segue onto...
No, I love a segue.
you wrote it on one this morning.
Yeah, I did. Mine's parked outside. I got a tandem one with Lemby Opic.
Not like Pierre's Morgan, he's not a fan.
Pierre's Morgan.
Did I call him Pierre?
Piers Morgan.
That's
That's what a German calls this show.
yeah, exactly.
Frank Skinner.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
So regarding the dinner party news, I
Yes.
was referring to, it's not just cats ruining food or having controversial incidents involving food. Apparently, dinner parties are over.
Yes, apparently it's become very uncool, the whole concept of the dinner party.
I was aghast when I read this.
Oh, I was a guest at a dinner party, and no, it's if dinner party is an unacceptable phrase, what happens when someone gets out the lazy Susan?
Yeah.
You think that that must have surely gone into disgrace as a term.
Well, rather brilliantly, they used the phrase. In one of the articles I read, they said dinner parties have become rather old hat, which is in itself rather old hat as a phrase.
yeah.
But yeah, the idea... I mean, I've got to be honest, as a child of dinner party culture, someone who... I mean, like, you know, I went to my first dinner party, I can barely remember. I would have been a few months old.
Gosh.
But I do think they are... I think that they can be a little hyacinth bouquet, I find. Get out the chinaware, you know, show off all your bits.
Yeah.
I find that aspect of it... I don't like it so much. I like the younger ways. These young people, they just meet each other. They meet their friends out in places, don't they?
See, we used to say, do you fancy coming round my house on Tuesday and having a doss? Which meant just lying around and talking, doing nothing. There was no food. We didn't even get a glass of water. You just go around and do that.
And exist.
But I'm a late adopter for the dinner party. And I, apart from the fact I get something that breaks my heart at a dinner party is when people go off into small groups at the table. So I say something inevitably hilarious and only like maybe a third of the table has heard it. That I find frustrating.
Yes, that's...
I really want to say, I don't know if you... Aldi, I don't know if you heard that. Do you want to tell them, Dave? It's a bit weird me telling them. But I do find that frustrating. I like, sometimes you still get the old separation of the women will talk together and the men will talk together. I don't like it. I want the full audience.
I'll tell you what I don't like is when you feel you've been given a seat and then it's all right, these people are okay, but you look over to your left and you're seeing people laughing hysterically and you think, I should have been, that was my seat.
Yeah.
I should have been there.
Over on the other side of the table is a man dressed as a sort of archduke laughing with someone in a bishop's mitre. What's that about? Look at that. Imagine the anecdotes.
And then I'm sat there in my penitentiary outfit.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? I always feel I have terrible FOMO. I get terrible anxiety thinking I've not sat in the best seat. I've not been sat in a good seat here.
Yeah.
Don't tell me you haven't thought that, Frank.
Maybe I'm never quite sure of should you be with your partner or should they be separated? You know that thing that if you sit next to your partner, you'll just talk to her. So some people put the placemat or say you sit there, and they deliberately separate you.
It's supposed to sort of alternate. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I sat with. I went to a do on Saturday night, and. I was with Jonathan Ross and his wife Jane Goldman, the screenwriter, and I was with Grayson Perry, and I spoke to him most of the night, and I did remember thinking, I did well here with Grayson. That's who you want to be sitting next to, because you know. Bit of art, bit of all that. Talked about comedy. It's great. So. Yeah.
Who was Kath with?
It's Jonathan Ross,
she's
mainly.
with Jonathan? Oh.
Yeah.
Well, she did well too.
So that worked out brilliantly. But I usually think I can make a dull guest a good one just by not letting them interfere with the conversation.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
We're talking about the death of the dinner party.
Surely not.
I think it's exaggerated.
Well, it turns out that 70% of people said they would wear a tracksuit and sweatshirt rather than dressing up for the dinner.
Yes.
Which,
But that is the modern world, of course. I saw a man this morning as I drove in quite early, a man older than me in a tracksuit, not running, just, going to get a pint of milk or something.
Shambling.
When I was growing up, it would have to be like a boxing trainer to see a man that age in a tracksuit. So that's taken over. I can understand the lure of elastication.
Yes, it implies great gorging intent. Someone showed up to your dinner party specifically wearing flexible clothes.
Yeah, exactly.
Very Boxing Day.
I don't mind. I mean, I don't expect a smoking jacket and cravat.
Not unless you invite a meerkat.
What do they do? Do they have tails, meerkats?
They have little tails.
So they have a little hole at the back to stick it.
I think they have a little hole at the back.
Yeah, so they'd be much bigger.
They would, and in fact, dead.
Yes.
Because Foxy Bingo, of course, he has his suits. He has them tailor-made.
He favours velvet as well, doesn't he?
He favours velvet, but he has a waistcoat. But
actually, he's a bit more low rent. I suspect he might be velour.
Well,
Yes.
again, he's the Janet Brown to the Faith Brown. I think Foxy Bingo's a bit more Faith Brown. And Meerkat, he's a cut above.
Yes. Yeah.
Would you say?
Yeah.
I don't know. I love Faith Brown.
I'm not saying I don't love Faith. I love Foxy Bingo.
I'll tell you, one of my problems with the dinner party is when you take something as a contribution and then it never comes out. Now,
They're hoarding your...
But that's considered bad manners, isn't it? That's why.
you see, if I take like a box of chocolates, I want them.
Terry's all gold.
Look, I'm very happy with them to have the first trawl.
Sure, okay, yeah.
But I do want eventually to have a go at, maybe the unpopular creams.
Great band.
Yeah. But I don't want it to not see it again.
No.
Oh, do you not?
I'm bringing that for the dinner party. I'm not just buying them some chocolates that they can have when so air.
No.
It's part of the, the contribution to the evening.
Yes. You don't want to hear the clank of the cellar door as they store your chocolates away for next winter.
Exactly. I know some people take alcohol, which, as you know, I don't approve of. But I think the alcohol doesn't always come out either.
No, that's true.
Well, I'll tell you what's always a bit orcs is when the alcohol is brought. I don't really drink these days, but I do sometimes bring a bottle, and just out of politeness. And it's when you bring quite a decent bottle, and they say, "Oh, thank you, that's lovely," and then it's put away, and then an inferior bottle is produced.
Well, I mean, we spoke to the two young women who work on this show, and neither of them seemed very au fait with the dinner party as a concept,
No.
really. Faye a bit more.
Yeah.
She was a bit more au fait, but she always is.
Oh, Faye. Yeah.
My friends and I have dinner parties every now and then with each other, but I'm the sort of person who uses the phrase aghast.
Yes,
So that
exactly.
doesn't
And also-
surprise me.
If someone came for dinner at if I came for dinner at your house,
Yeah.
what soundtrack might I expect?
Soundtrack.
Yeah.
I would let the algorithms pick some jazz. I don't think I would trust
jazz.
myself
Then
to.
I will
Also-
not be coming.
Just sort of background music.
You've got the biltong to serve as well.
Various meats.
Yeah, but he loves
Yeah.
meats. Did you serve a plate of meats?
Actually, the last time we were supposed to have a dinner party, we got cancelled on the morning of.
Oh.
Or no, later, for a few hours notice. And
Oh, why?
I don't know, some stupid reason.
The old COVID excuse, I suppose. That's getting a bit more suspect as it goes on. Yeah, I've got a bit of trench foot. Oh, come on.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
Jack Ryan, I would just like to return briefly to.
Oh, hold it.
Oh, sorry.
It's top of the hour, it turns out.
Oh, I can't apologise enough.
It's all right. This is Absolute Radio. I'm Frank Skinner. I'm with Emily Dean and Pierre Novellie. You can text us on 81215, or you can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio. All capital letters. I never noticed that before. Email the show via frank@absoluteradio.co.uk.
I'm
Whatever
sorry.
happened to HTTP/? Is that gone?
/ They used to love saying a /
Oh, forward slash.
Presenters always felt very sort of modern when they said that.
Do you get backward slashes?
Yeah.
You do at my age.
You do. I'm sorry. I launched in at the top of the hour. I got too.
Don't worry.
I was all Roy Keane.
It's fine. It's
By the
fine.
way, what do you make of his Roy Keane's look at the moment? That question to Nazarene follower Frank Skinner.
I like it. There's something about an Irishman and a beard that feels right, I think. I can imagine Roy doing, as I came home on Monday night. And it's got that kind of... So I like that, yeah. It's got a sort of folky feel to it.
Oh, okay. Jack Ryan, years ago...
Bet he's got one.
Jack Ryan?
Yeah.
Jack Ryan has got in touch Catgate
Oh, yeah.
and Baddiel. Years ago, I moved into a new house and my housemates kindly offered to cook me dinner on my first night. After the meal, they put the plates on the floor to let the cats eat from it. It grossed me out. Am I wrong?
Perhaps they haven't got a dishwasher.
Surely a dishwasher over the long term is cheaper than a cat.
Oh, that's a good question, actually. I'll have to phone Martin Lewis.
Yes.
about that.
What's he called again, Frank? Money saving expert?
Yeah, I believe so. He was the guy I watched him interviewed on telly, Pierre. You know when people have their books in the background? He got his MBE on the shelf.
Really?
Yeah.
I quite like that.
I should have worn it.
Yeah.
Go the whole way.
Is he money saving expert for life now? Does it
Well, I
award?
don't
Does
know.
it take it to someone
Until he
else?
goes bankrupt. And then I'm afraid that's going to be called into question.
Yes, yeah. Daff Anderson gets in touch regarding the whole cat pasta debacle and says, depends on the cat, really, doesn't it? No, Daff. No, it doesn't.
No. The word,
Wrong.
it's
Wrong.
all you need is the categorisation cat. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, so if it's a cat with a monocle and a top hat, this is
Yeah.
oh, well, no, look at him.
Yeah, exactly.
He's
I suppose
clean.
if it was a cat that had been kept in super hygienic conditions, but even so, you'd feel that some sort of bacteria would come from the inner being of the cat.
Exactly. Even a freshly boiled cat, not so.
Oh no, you've gone too far.
You've gone too-
Can I say we on Absolute Radio do not support the boiling of any animals.
It's very cruel.
Well, you know, obviously, if they're dead, we've got to bought them.
Oh, no.
Eggs. We're all right with eggs, I think, are we?
I know, but Pierre's Morgan, he's become a bit
Morgan.
more...
Yeah, does all his own
Immune to
slaughtering.
it.
I don't know if you're aware of that.
No, but he's also, it's the safari world he's used to.
It is. That's true.
Money saving expert home abattoir.
Oh, Pierre's.
I can see him wrestling with a sheep in the kitchen.
Oh, he's done that. How old were you when you saw the Big Five for the first time?
Oh, God, I don't know.
That's a
Young.
tough
Do
question.
you think he was quite young, Frank?
What are they again? Lion, tiger, water buffalo.
No tiger.
And water buffalo is the one that
Frank,
people normally
This
don't
is
get.
controversial. No tiger. I didn't know that. Why
I
not?
think-
Why
No,
not?
no tigers in Africa.
No tigers in Africa.
Lovely that he knows that. What is it? What have we got then?
Elephant, lion, water buffalo.
Not a rhino, not elephant either.
Not elephant. There's
Yeah.
definitely elephants in Africa. I've seen them.
They were plants.
Yeah, no. They were eating plants. I actually saw elephants in Africa doing that squirty thing at each other at a watering hole. Brilliant. I didn't think they really did that. I thought that was like a Beano thing that they did. But they actually do it.
He still hasn't. Come on, the big five. We reckon lion. You said Frank's gone warthog. That's a bit weird.
I know. I said water buffalo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, water buffalo is true. That's the one people don't expect.
No, that's the one that
Okay.
sticks here. That's my Brad Dexter, which tends to be the one of the Magnificent Seven actors that people don't get. That'd be a good text in. What are the last jigsaw piece of a quiz question that people don't get? The one they don't get. I think that would be a good 8, 12, 15. I'd love to hear that. That could either be nothing or it could be one of the great text-ins of all time. We'll see.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Well, we've already had people texting in. It was lovely where you put it. It was the final jigsaw puzzle piece that people
In a quiz question.
that people don't often get. We've got 300, the other member of Queen.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good... The one that isn't Roger Taylor, Peter...
John Deacon.
Yes, very
Yeah.
good. What Brian... So Brian, Freddie, Roger and John Deacon. Yeah, I did know that. Now you say it, of course, I know it. But would
Well,
I
yeah.
have got that in a quiz question? Well,
Exactly.
probably not.
But it's your jigsaw puzzle. We've also... This sounds... Can I say 677, Pierre? Sounds like a lovely friend for me. Hi, Frank and team. I saw Max Wall in Waiting for Godot at the Roundhouse many years ago. Only let down by not saying Godot, but we'll let you off. They should have just said, I saw Max's Godot.
Okay.
I didn't wait. Oh, I'm afraid they didn't enjoy it.
Oh.
They left in the interval.
Is that quite a common way for I didn't wait?
I like
Common way
it.
for I didn't wait?
There-
Well, as in I didn't wait for Godot. Yes.
Oh, I see.
They
Sorry.
didn't wait for Godot.
I
you
left.
see?
I left a Lauren Bacall play at the interval. I just couldn't handle it.
Oh.
Well, we were generally discouraged from leaving. My parents wouldn't allow it. There was one time when we made an exception, though, which was when we saw a production of Tommy done in a school gym in Edinburgh. And at the end, it was getting unbearable, frankly. So, unfortunately, we had to walk across the stage in order to leave.
Especially in a gym. You don't want to get your foot caught on that sticky tape that marks the netball court.
There's little squeaky trainer noises as you all leave.
Oh, don't you hate it when the...
Oh,
What
man.
about when Frank got given an award and what put him off, it tainted the whole evening for him, was that the award ceremony was held in a place and he could see the outlines of the school, of the
Yes.
netball court
Yes.
on the floor. They put you off. didn't
Yeah, I don't think it was a school. I think it was like a proper arena. But even so,
Oh. And they
get
made
a carpet over the basketball, for goodness
made
sake.
you stand on the little penalty spot and accept the award.
Oh, it's the only time in my life I think I've ever got a standing ovation was that night. Yeah.
So-
Don't get many standing ovations in comedy. You ever had one, Pierre?
No, it's a very American thing.
Yeah.
They'll just do it on principle over there.
Insincere often.
It means nothing.
Yeah, okay. Good to know.
I love you two telling yourselves no one gets standing ovation. Yeah, no one gets standing ovation.
Steve Coogan told me the first ever gig he did, he got a standing ovation.
Did he?
That sounds fantastic.
I wouldn't tell anyone that. I'd be too ashamed that I had that kind of mass appeal.
Straight away.
Yeah. You got to start questioning what you're up to if you're getting that kind of response from everyone.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Frank, we've been talking about the missing jigsaw piece.
In quiz questions or quiz answers, yeah. So I suggested Brad Dexter is, if you says name the 7 actors who played the Magnificent Seven, he'd be your gold mine that no one got. Not everyone would get Hurst Buchholz, probably, but I think he was one.
What about my little friend?
Go on.
James Coburn, would they get him? Not really.
No, they'd get him.
Would they?
The big 5: Robert Vaughan, Steve McQueen, James Coburn, Yul Brynner. They get those.
I'm quite glad he was in the big 5.
Yeah.
Ruth Jordan. People never remember the last Osmond brother.
Let me have a go. Donnie, Jimmy, Merrill. Russell. I know he was.
Russell, have you just made that up?
Russell Osmond played for Ipswich.
Russell Howard. Russell.
No, who's the other one then?
Well, hang on, what about, there's Marie, obviously.
Well, she's not one of the brothers.
Yeah, but you mentioned a girl just now, didn't you?
No, Merrill was one of the brothers.
Sorry.
Okay.
Ruth Jordan, people never remember the last Osmond brother, Richard.
Is that a Richard Osmond? Oh, she led me on.
Very good, Ruth.
Oh, Ruth.
We've also had, Iona Faz. She says, in his epic poems, Homer often refers to nectar as the drink of the god and which other substance as their food. A contestant on TV replied, well, I know he likes donuts, so I think I'm going to go with donuts. That is true.
That is brilliant. I love that.
And then we have M. Higgins. Oh, Mr. Higgins.
Yeah.
At least put Professor. Put your full title. The 5 boroughs of New York. There's one people always forget. Have you seen this one?
Oh, yes.
I don't, that's a hard question.
Oh, well, I can give you the 4 if you like, the big 4. New York, Manhattan, Queens, the Bronx, Brooklyn, and...
Do you know it?
Well, I'm
Of course
looking
he
at it.
does.
Oh, okay.
Talking
Go
to
on.
Pierre's, you don't know it.
Staten Island.
Oh, okay. There's an Ogden Nash poem. Ogden Nash wrote comical poems, and he wrote one about New York, and there's a bit that goes, it's just a 2-line poem, the Bronx, no thonks. So I always liked.
Oh, this is a good one. 813. I mean, Frank will know this, Pierre, for reasons that will become clear. The 4 presenters of Game for a Laugh.
By the way, is it Ambrosia, the other thing?
Yes, very good. The 4 presenters of Game for a Laugh. Your witness, Frank. Quite literally.
Henry Kelly, Matthew Kelly, Sarah Kennedy.
Yeah, all the case.
Yeah.
Was it Sarah Kennedy?
Lovely.
And
Played.
there was a 4th one, was there?
There was. We'll find out who that was in a bit.
After this, I bet the audience are on the edge of their seats.
Frank Skinner.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
What was we discussing? Oh, yeah, the 4th member
We was
of...
discussing the 4 presenters of Game for a Laugh.
I don't know the 4th one, I'm going to fess
Well,
up.
you do.
Do I?
Yes. So you've already established...
I know Henry Kelly because he goes to my church. I see him in there quite often.
Well, I know him, obviously.
What am I? A Catholic.
And you know Matthew
Kelly.
Matthew, Henry and Sarah Kennedy. I can exclusively reveal Sarah Kennedy was the jigsaw.
Oh, so who didn't I get who was obvious then?
I might hand over to my colleague for that reveal.
Julian Pettifer.
No, that's gone.
What?
What?
No.
Oh, is
It's
that wrong?
missed. Yes, he's
Where?
missed the big one. You've missed the lion. You didn't mention Jeremy Beadle.
Oh, of course. Jeremy Beadle, of course.
You didn't mention Beadle.
That was a terrible exclusion.
How can you exclude Beadle?
Well, it's a good question. Generally, yes, okay.
But he does say, yes, that said, if asked who presented Busman's Holiday, I bet more people would say Sarah Kennedy than Julian Pettifer.
I'd say, what's Busman's Holiday?
So would I.
Okay,
so would all of us. That's from Andy Wood, Bronte Country.
Do you know Andy Wood? Never mind. I'll tell you what, back to the dinner party thing. Did I ever tell you when we tried a revolutionary dinner party in which the guests, one of the guests said, I'll cook, but at your house. So her and her husband came, I think, and they handled the cooking, and they just sent a list of what we had to buy in advance. And it worked sort of brilliantly because they love cooking. I hate cooking, and so does my partner. We don't really cook. And so they came. We'd done all the shopping. They cooked the meal. We did all the washing up after, obviously. And they just got the praise for the meal.
That sounds like a good deal.
It was. More people should try that. That could revive the dinner party. I remember their problem was they brought all this praise as guests do, and they hadn't got anywhere to put it. So at one point, I remember the woman said, "It's a lovely cruet, this. Where did you get it?" I thought, no, that's rubbish praise. Lovely cruet. Not good enough. But I would recommend people trying that. It's great that someone else does the shopping and the washing up. You just get the glory.
Yeah.
And also you don't have to eat rubbish.
Well, I've been invited. I've got to say, whenever I go round to Frank's, I like it. It is more of a DOS, isn't it, that I do?
It is. We don't
We
don't
DOS.
really
I mean,
do
he'll
it.
come, he'll say, oh, I'll come over. And Kathy is very good. Frank seems to be... Well, what's that? No, she'll say, are you hungry? And she'll make me toast.
Yeah, but that's what you get. It's the microwave and stuff.
Okay.
Frank does the tea.
Yeah.
Oh, I read an interesting thing the other day about the microwave. A man, I love this. A man, Pierre will probably know this, he knows everything,
Of course
but
he
a
does.
man was working on radar, when radar was invented, and he was working on a smaller system so that people could use radar more locally. And he realised when he was experimenting that the chocolate bar in his pocket had completely melted. And he'd accidentally invented the microwave. But it was like, he was in it. He happened to be in it at the time. Oh, man, I love that. Did you know that, Pierre?
I knew the story.
Well, see, you can't tell him anything. Do you know in Britain what, when it was introduced in the 50s, what the microwave oven was initially used for?
Oh, God. I don't know. Yeah.
Shall I tell you?
Go on.
Reviving cryogenically frozen hamsters.
Oh, God.
Music.
Frank Skinner. Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
We've had a number of people, Frank, getting in touch. I mean, there's so many Queen members being
Okay.
cited.
There's other Queen members.
No, they don't have any more members.
Just
but we're
thinking.
just saying a lot of people. What I'm saying is, Queen seem to be in the jigsaw puzzle chair, jigsaw piece chair.
I thought there might be one that we didn't know about. It wasn't even John Deacon. You know those pictures from Bohemian Rhapsody? He was doing it, but he wasn't very well lit. He was at the back.
Ironically, I hate to say it, but things have changed now. I worry that the one person people that are less aware of is the lead singer. Let's be honest.
Yeah, Lambert. Yeah.
Strange, unnecessary accent. Can I ask you about that choice for the accent?
I don't know. Isn't there a ballet Rambert? And so it seems to me that he should be Adam Lambert. That seems to make sense.
Yeah, and that's more operatic than Lambert.
Yeah, and he's quite an operatic kind of a guy.
Yes, Adam Lambert sounds more...
Like a
Adam-
footballer.
Yeah.
He sounds more like he'd look after my finances.
Yeah.
Hello, could you just tell her Adam Lambert called from
Yeah,
Prudential?
exactly.
I think
Thank
he
you.
sounds like a footballer.
Do you, Adam
Yeah.
Lambert?
Bring on Lambert. People would yell from dark corners of pubs.
Yes, yes.
Bring on.
It's always the same.
Pierre's take on the football world.
Although, in fairness, he's right.
From what I can tell, it's mainly people shouting to bring on other people.
Yes, you're not wrong. Last night it was bring on Foden, bring on Grealish, and then they get one of them. And they're
Yeah.
happy, but they're upset about the other one.
I was pleased about the other one because from the beginning of the game, I said to Dave and the other assembled people in the room that now he'll bring Jordan Henderson on because he always does, and then he did, and so I got that moment where you've predicted something and it actually happens.
Oh, I love it when that happens.
Even Nostradamus apparently never wore off that thrill.
Did he not?
No, whatever it was. Though, of course, if he'd have predicted it, he would have said, and the sun will shine on a white gate. And then when Jordan Henderson came on, he'd have said, I told you.
Would you like to have been friends with Nostradamus, Frank? Do you think he would have been a nice friend for you?
Yeah, I think he'd have been. I like the mystical in a companion.
But it's a bit I told you so. His version of the mystical.
There's a little bit of that going on here.
I think he would have been quite annoying.
Yeah.
Because you would have said, you didn't tell me that.
Yeah.
He said, I did. I intentionally left 2 consonants out
Yeah, exactly.
to throw you
But if we got
slightly.
to the point where we were sleeping together, he'd be great for telling you what clothes to put out for the next day.
Sleeping together with Nostradamus.
Why not? Why not?
Hello magazine.
I just think his beard...
Big scandal.
Frank,
You'll never
that would be
guess.
Frank and Nostradamus show you their dream home.
beautiful home.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, dear. And you've got no calendar. We don't need one, darling. Oh, man. So,
Oh, dear.
we live in a world now where I could marry Nostradamus.
It's
How
the
fantastic.
couple we never predicted,
Yeah,
if you know
me
what
and
I
him.
mean.
We were born too early, me and him. And that's tickled me.
And so did Nostradamus, from what I hear.
It was the beard, it wasn't deliberate. So if the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Now get out.